Yes, good morning to everyone listening to the sound of my voice. I am your host for today's Shakeup Radio program, Augustine Ferdinand. Today being the 13th of February 2023. It's now half past the hour of 10 o'clock here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. As usual, I want to send greetings to those of you who are joining us in the diaspora in the US of A and Canada. Special greetings to our Consul General, Mr. Fitzhuggins, and his family. Greetings to those of you in the United Kingdom and across the continent of Europe. Also, greetings to our many students around the world. Good morning, afternoon, or good night, depending on the time zone in your respective area. Greetings also to those of you who are joining us via Star FM, and a special morning to the staff of Star. Also, special good morning to Jen Sek, Minister Francis, also comrades Marva and Joy, Miss Richards, Great House, Sister Glenn Graves, um, also to Comrade Elson, also OB, and all those who are usually locked on, I still and others. Greetings to those of you who are joining us via social media on WEFM 99.9 Facebook page. Whether you are driving to and from your destination, also in the comfort of your homes, and I left out my brother and friend in Oman, Mr. Darren Grant. Greetings to him and his family. But as usual, it's an interactive program, and the numbers to call and get interactive with us here in the studio of WFM are 784-457-9997. That's 784-457-9997. And you can call or send us messages on the WhatsApp number 784-457-9994. That's 784-457-9994. Well, this morning, the Prime Minister, Dr. Alf Gonzalez, will be leaving the state for a meeting he will be attending in Guyana. He will be out of state for a week, actually, because after Guyana, he'll then proceed to attend the CARICOM Heads of Government meeting in the Bahamas. Of course, he also will meet with the Prime Minister of Canada, also a delegation from the European Union and the United States, etc., to discuss a wide range of matters, from security matters, also matters pertaining to CELAC, given that St. Vincent and the Grenadines has assumed and was elected a pro tempore president of CELAC, food security, among other issues. And of course, given talking about security, there's the escalating issue in Haiti that will be addressed as well from a CARICOM standpoint. So, Prime Minister will be out of state for a week, and of course, as usual, we all know when he returns to the state, he gives a report, more or less, to the people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines on his visits abroad and the different meetings he is attending. And also that's part of, transparency, good governance and the like. And I know you, the people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, you've grown accustomed to that, where after every visit, mainly get a report from the media to directly you, the people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. But today's program, I want to focus on what I call good news. Over the weekend, I've seen a lot of good news, especially in even media reports. And I think we, shed some light on them. First being, of course, I saw in the Insider magazine, more or less. It's a magazine that's normally read by many persons, including the rich. the rich and the famous. You have business inside and the like. And there's an article here. It says that I vacationed like a billionaire on the ultra-exclusive Caribbean island of Canouan. It was a slice of paradise and surprisingly unpretentious. So this is someone, of course, who visited Canouan, is from the United States, spends a lot of time in Las Vegas, and he spent it at the Soho House, which was recently opened, I think, in 2021. He said he spent Christmas and New Year holiday in Canouan, um, and he really enjoyed his stay there. So this is also another part of marketing of St. Vincent and the Grenadines on the internet, and it doesn't get better, especially where it's an article inside of a magazine that is normally read by the rich, and when the rich, they may read things like this. And remember, in Canouan as well, they have Sandy Lane Yacht Club. The rich and famous, they own many yachts, or they may rent a yacht, and may want to say, well, boy, let's see what this place is about. And they take a trip here to St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and then specifically to Canouan. He said, let me find it here. He said, I heard about it after the Soho House announced they opened an outpost there, of which he's a member. He said, at the time, I never thought I would set foot inside one of these clubs, let alone become a member. But fast forward a decade, while completing his medical training in LA, he was invited to Group's West Hollywood house and fell in love with its sweeping views. He said, so when he went to Soho House Beach in Canouan after it opened in 2021, he Googled where Canouan was, and knowing little else about it, he booked a hotel a year in advance. And of course, there's a photo here of Canouan. And of course, the article says Canouan is a small island that measures just about 5 square miles and is one of the 32 islands located within the Caribbean archipelago of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. So, yeah, and it goes on to talk about Mustake as well inside the article. Fans of Netflix The Crown will recognize Mustake as an island where Princess Margaret built a house, and it's been reported by Tongue and Country would be a favorite holiday destination for Prince William and his family. All this, like I said, is part of marketing, and it goes on to say, as I researched my trip, one thing became quickly clear, that Canouan was a destination associated with wealth and luxury. Travel and Leisure magazine called it the Caribbean island you've never heard of, that has luxury hotels, stunning blue waters, and some of the best snorkeling in the world. Bloomberg magazine reported it as where billionaires go to get away from the millionaires, and that 11 members of the 9-figure club own land there. And then it goes on to say that according to Rob Report, George Clooney, Matt Damon, and others, Leonardo DiCaprio, who is also these are all actors in the movie industry or entertainment industry, have all been spotted vacationing on the island. And then he goes on to say he was impressed to learn that Canouan was developed specifically to attract a jet and a yacht setting crowd. So yeah, again, because, and the reason why I read this here is that oftentimes you hear some persons try to pull down the good name of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. You also hear some persons say that not much being done in even advertising, or they can't see any sort of advertisement of the country. But to me, this is excellent, where you can have, and it's not the first time we've seen in various magazines. And again, these magazines are read by people with money. And like I said, kind of one in particular in the magazine mentioned it here. You have those who are very rich and they rent or own yachts and they're able to dock. They have the marina, also at Sandy Lane. Persons would remember when the government expanded the Kanawan airport. It's now a jet airport again, facilitating many persons with wealth who may own a jet or rent a jet to be able to accommodate many jets as possible at one given time. Again, you know, helping to boost our own tourism product here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And like I said, you see different media outlets, different magazines that will mention St. Vincent and Grenadines as one of the best place to be, the best island, and what have you, you know. So that is something I saw on the weekend and said, it's good to share because it's good news. Because most times here in St. Vincent and Grenadines, there are some persons who are hell bent on simply focusing on negativity, and therefore someone has to spread the good news. Another one I saw in an article. I know last week I read an article where a young man from Edinburgh received prime grants, prime grant funding, which assisted his own business, his mechanic and paint shop. But this weekend gone, sorry, I see here on another news media outlet, One News, it says 25-year-old leads grain auto import business based on trust, and this is a young man coming out of Mesopotamia or Maraqua constituency, and he's now a business owner of a particular business called GJ's Auto Imports, where he's a dealer more or less in securing vehicles for persons and importing them or even selling vehicles, as a matter of fact. And he's just 25 years of age. Yeah, amazing, huh? Here in St. Vincent and Grenadines. And again, I will say this, I remember when the PRO of the NDP at the youth convention, which they convened not too long ago last year, they said that there's little or no hope for young people here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. But every time you see, even at on the calendar of Bank of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, you see many young persons who are now entrepreneurs, and young persons, mind you, who are between the ages of 25 and up, or between 25 and 30, 25 and 35, who are basically their own employers and employing others. And this young man, of course, is one of those persons. He has his own business, GJ's Auto Imports. He's a dealer, 25 years of age. And, he said he started out, this is another important thing, he started out on ES program. And persons would remember what the opposition in this country called the YES program, Youth Exploitation Service. But he started out on YES program, he said, where he was attached to the Ministry of Education reprographic unit, and then at grammar school as a IT technician. And his dream then was to purchase a vehicle, of which he did 5 years after, and he got some other stints in working with Flandre. I can remember the whole idea of the government with the ES program initiative is to give persons working experience, persons who particularly may not have attended, persons who haven't attended university or even college, but they have some CSEC or some other certificates, and they need working experience. Need some training on the job, and therefore he started out there. That's why he started out in gaining some work experience, and from there he moved into the private sector. He said he worked with Flow SVG for 2 years as a field service technician, and again he worked within the government on the DS program as an IT technician. And 5 years after, he purchased his own vehicle, and thereon he became familiar with vehicle importation, how it works, and he started up his business. 25 years of age here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And he doesn't only focus on imports, but he also has his car wash service inside and out, and the like. So again, when I hear some persons say that there's no hope, they try to use politics and say there's no hope for young people here in St. Vincent and Grenadines. There's a lot of hope. And then, of course, he was asked where does he see his business in the next 5 years. And of course, he said they intend to become the number one chosen dealership for importation of vehicles, sales, parts, tires, among other things. And of course, he went on to say what advice would he have for entrepreneurs. And he said the road may seem tough at the intersection, but trust me, don't give up. Don't give up once you make the right turn into your correct lane, and all will definitely be well. Don't try to overtake because one individual might be doing something better than you. Stay focused and maintain the same speed until it's your time to change that gear and move forward 1 mile faster. Keep praying for health and strength to see your business become successful. Again, young man, just 25 years of age, here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, has his own business importing many vehicles into the country. He's a vehicle dealer coming out of Maraqua, here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And just last weekend, I talked about the young man who received the Prime Grant. It was featured in Searchlight newspaper, where he received that grant funding, which helped to expand his own business here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, in which he also paints vehicles and the like. Young man. And this is another young individual. And, talking about that, the PRO herself of the NDP, she has her own CMOS business in the exportation of CMOS out of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. They're mainly based in Kanawan. And that is why I found it very strange at the time where she stood up on the podium and said there's no hope for young people in the country, because she's young herself, and she not only has that CMOS business, I know she has another business called Gadget Hub, which is also based in Kanawan itself, a physical building into retail, in selling a lot of gadgets and the like. A young person like herself. And I said at the time, maybe she should have used the opportunity and used herself as an example, as to once you stay focused and determined, anything is possible, and dream big. But I guess, politics is what it is. But again, going back to the point that there's a lot of hope for young people. I know Prime itself has opened a lot of doors and gateways for persons. There are a lot of barbers in this country who also receive Prime funding. Persons who are in catering as well. Persons who are in selling of auto parts. Persons who own car wash received Prime grant funding. And as I mentioned many programs ago, many persons will recall, because of loss of eruption, we actually had we cut duties basically on the importation of power washers, because at the time we needed a lot of power wash equipment to clean buildings and clear the streets, drains, and the like. And therefore, you had a waiver on the duties on those equipment. And many young people I know who brought in power wash equipment, they use it to start up their own small car wash. I know that for a fact. Again, opportunities that many young persons capitalize on. So again, going back to the point where, there are some persons who always like to paint doom and gloom here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. When in reality, there are so many opportunities out there for persons to capitalize on. And once you're determined, once you keep your head on, you will get through. You also have VEEP, the volcanic emergency project, the volcanic eruption emergency project. And under that, there are many persons who are from the directly affected zones in the country, northern part of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, who are receiving training, workshopping, also learning a skill and being their own employer. I saw Searchlight also carried it, and this started since last year. I know for a fact. And Searchlight carried it recently, where it says here in an interview with Searchlight, VEEP project coordinator Roxanne John said that part of the VEEP project is that participants in the workshop were given 6 months of income support from July to December last year, and that it is not just designed to give people money, but also to help them bounce back from the situation they are in. It says here that, of course, the additional hardship from the eruptions of La Soufrière was the mere fact that farming was almost impossible for persons who depended on it for their livelihood. And apart from life skills, which were part of the workshop program, participants are also learning how to cope with their situation. And the program embraced 1,000 participants from Fancy, Owe, Sandy Bay, Landy Park, Georgetown, Connery, Park Hill, and South Rivers. And its main aim is to help build resilience for persons and, of course, provide training so that, again, they can help to build themselves. So life skills, communication, conflict resolution, time and money management was some of the part of that particular program to help them move from dependency to independence. During the workshop, participants were introduced to Bridge Model, which helped them to identify the present position and where they would like to be in the future. So all these things are happening out there. And again, this too is finance, given that his VEEP is financed under the World Bank initiative. And it brings me to this other issue where, there are persons who, they say, well, we hear $40 million coming from the World Bank. What are we doing with it? You would often hear some persons say that, especially if the government announced that it's going to borrow some more money or there's not enough money available, whether with cleanup exercise, dealing with housing and the like, to recover. And you would hear persons ask the question, well, what are we doing with all this $40 million from the World Bank? But some of these things is what you're doing with it. Some of these very same things in terms of workshop. Yeah. Some of the very income support that persons receive is under that. The road cleaning program that We did last year, and I remember a particular host for the NDP on their program, so that we are misusing the money on the vape to pay persons to do road work. But reality, there's a particular initiative on the vape of $8 million and some dollars, 8 point something million dollars, geared towards the cleaning of roads under the very vape initiative. And that's where people pay people from. There's another part of it that deals with bridges and roads. You use that money for that as well. But again, you hear some persons would ask, what we do with the money? Nobody giving to account to the monies. But I'm telling you here what the money is being spent for. The Minister of Finance stated it also, even in budget last year, what those monies would be spent for. You often hear it during the budget exercise where monies are coming from. I know Pijan was a co-host for Issues at Hand program. Recently, the Ministry of Finance for uploading electronically the estimates for this year. And there's another thing too. They have some persons who don't care to research. Because I can tell you this, if anyone goes on the government's website, you find a lot of information. I remember hearing the MP for Southern Grenadines say that, well, not the MP for Southern Grenadines, for his Kingston, talking about and the educational digest, and there's not enough stats. But it's also on there. But these are some of the good news, in terms of even that workshop. There's also the Yates office recently opened, and that's also geared towards skills training. But another good news, and I'm quite sure many read it on the weekend. If not, you'll hear it now. That St. Vincent and the Grenadines exported over 30,000 pounds of dasheen to Florida. And just last week, we were having a conversation, and a very similar thing. Improving our exports and talking about the blue gold. Green gold was bananas, now the blue gold is dasheen. 30,000, and someone asked me, where they getting these 30,000 pounds from? I don't know how many persons remember this. And sometimes you have to refresh our memory. When the Minister of Agriculture announced that there will be certain stations set up across the country in receiving agricultural produce for export out of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, acting as a central hub. And where we have to use our export-led strategy for these sort of things. And setting up something, some person may say it as marketing board, but very different from how marketing board used to operate. But so far, we've seen the exportation of 30,000 pounds of dasheen from St. Vincent and Grenadines to the United States. And it says here that this export success is just one small step towards changing the mindset of producers and consumers alike. We're showing farmers what can be focused on is customer needs and expectation, and in turn establish SVG export as high quality products and reliable sellers. And of course, leading this initiative here is Tara Exports under SVG Investment LLC. To Vincentian entrepreneurs, it says here, recognize that SVG lack the resources to enable its farmers to export their products on a sustainable and predictable basis while juggling the rise and fall in the markets, and decided to create business that could provide those resources. Another thing you hear from some of those who like to spread negativity and fake news is that it's very difficult in starting your own business in the country. These two individuals, they saw a need and they start a business. The vacuum or the need that they saw is that, look, you didn't have many persons, you didn't have this space in facilitating the export of farmers' products in a sustainable and predictable manner, and therefore they fill that gap in starting up the business. And it says here, SVG Investments LLC created a comprehensive package of technology, logistics solution, and training for local farmers so that they can consistently produce high-quality products. Together, these two powerful entrepreneurs have created a company that is dedicated to the growth and sustainable development of St. Vincent and Grenadines. Yeah. 30,000 pounds of dashing so far to Florida. And this is just the starting or the first quarter of 2023. 30,000 pounds. Again, like I said last year, there are tremendous opportunities for persons out there. Get on board, don't wait until it's too late. I see someone say big up Huggy, and I guess today's his birthday as well. And talking about that, even Consul General Fitzhuggins himself, in his own capacity, have assisted in many different ways in working closely with the Minister of Agriculture in setting up with different agencies abroad, providing seeds and opportunities also for farmers here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Progress. Tremendous amount of progress that is ongoing. And where you had different variety of exotic produce, again, because of the work of Consul General Huggins, and of course you have Global Medic and other agencies that assist in that regard. Looking for opportunities. And now you see out of St. Vincent and Grenadines, 30,000 pounds to the US of A. Quite sure many persons remember when we had a trial shipment out of St. Vincent and Grenadines. All these are good news, but again, if I ain't come here or if you hear it by the press secretary, Mr. Marshall, you might not hear it at all. Because there are simply some programs focused on mayhem. What is vexing you this morning, and all you get is anger every morning. And there are some other programs that are simply focused on a lot of fake news. And I don't have to tell you where the fake news coming from. If you have a particular radio station that has a history of getting lawsuits, and based on the court, always guilty of spreading lies, then I don't have to tell you which particular station does bring a lot of fake news. So again, someone have to do it and come and say, these are the things, good news happening in St. Vincent and Grenadines. St. Vincent and Grenadines continues to be on the move under this government. Continues to be on the move. We see the exportation of seafood out of the country. And many fisher folks positioning themselves, given the opportunities that exist. Many fisher folks, and we heard Lolly calling here on a program, mentioning that he also assists persons, those who send in the application to get loan financing under the KCC arrangement with the government, partial guarantee credit. In purchasing vessels and other equipment, engines, because they see the road ahead is one where there will be significant demand, and someone has to fill that gap in supply and that demand. And you heard what the opposition said, that is nonsense with the government, do they? Government shouldn't talking about having an arrangement with KCCU. We heard that. And where he said instead, what the NDP would have done is to establish a development bank financed by citizenship by investment, which is selling off passports. That is what the opposition leader said. But I saw it as a wonderful move. And those of you listening could agree, disagree, but I saw it as a wonderful move in strengthening one of our local credit unions. Not so. But I see we have a call this morning. Let's take the call. Good morning, call. Welcome to Shakeup. Turn on the radio in the background. Turn on the radio in the background.
Good morning, my brother.
I see you get you, man.
Yes.
Wonderful. Good to hear you, man.
Bring an postman, brother.
Yes.
To really assist me.
Yes.
And the people who helping them and things. But man, bring a brand new phone for me, brother. And I should thank them, I bless them by God. They don't hope the cup never empty. And the government and the parliamentarian and them be blessed with the kind of things that they're doing to Sylvan. So I'm telling you, this government doing so much in agriculture, education, work, all manner of work, opportunity for everybody who really want to do something. And then it's fellas and them with the book of lies, the Bible of lies. ESCL been in their mind to tell them all kind of things. You know, I see government. You know, I see government to prosper. They want the government to cut back in half, this and that. When you do all that, they can't get money to fix road. They can't get money to do nothing because them figure when the government they have no money, that they start a chance in land basin. You hear they talk about roads and this and that and crime and all kind of things. They want to see. They want to see no reduction in crime and them kind of thing and no road fix and them thing, you know. When I last time the government trying to, every time the government tries to get a place to put down a sort plan that they could fix the road and things, they come up with some kind of grievance some way to stir up people. To say, oh, this could bring things in the village, this could that pollute the village, this could pollute that. And when the government is set back now, they jump on that the road thing. Oh, they are fixing road, they're not fixing that. A government like this who know, who have friends from all over the world and have all kind of connection, ain't go fix this and ain't go fix that and ain't care for people. Them try to put stand in rice, try to make the government stop them back in all direction, just to get things to talk. But they talk about crime and all, there is crime themselves. Because that radio station they promoting crime day and night. Day and night they promoting crime, they're glad for crime. They're glad to hear about crime and violence and all kind of things. And glad for the government they ain't put on a sort plan that we would go fix and all them kind of things. So. And Vincent well know about that. And they had a mischief. People kind doing saying all kind of things all around the country. Well, they kind of look cool on the supporters because they realize that even them now I don't they voted for NDP. I never see people like that. They voted for NDP, but they don't want to see NDP in office. Talk about cleaning up a road and Kingston and all kind of thing. They try to make that now a political game field for them and all kind of thing like that. But it's plenty of supporters, glad for them to clean up.
Yeah.
But NDP is a total destruction, a total liar gang, a destruction, a destructive people. But hey, no man, I tell you now, you know, if it's only one vote, this government will win by the because this government far. This bunch of people that we have in government far different, far good-minded. You like to help people, looking out for the country, but already looking out for country and looking to get rich. They want to get rich and fame and work and people. So the government is a far different thing to them. So it's our one vote, brother. We have to win it by government to win by that because you know why? God is the government, God helping the government, God blessing the government. He blessing Vincent Shan. Now look at Vincent. They have fellas here independent who couldn't buy bicycle. They live in tube in house all over the place, squatting, doing all kind of reckless things just like how we NDP reckless. It lead us reckless and telling lies. and all this kind of thing. And now they have big car, they have big house, the children happy going to big school. Now when the children come out of school, you might tell the time before they get a look up, but you are surety that something coming up somehow, some way, somehow, whether it's tourism or whether it's this and that, something coming up somehow. And the people have confidence in the government because they know, well, this is a government that making the way. When they talk about employment and this and that, but when the government, when they start to see development something and investors, oh, put a cap on that because they're going to make a lose election. We deal with bad-minded, we deal with vampires, we deal with people that fighting against a nation just to get him poor to work and men to do all kind of thing. But that ain't go work. That could never work. It never work. Satan, look so long Satan fighting to take over the world, and he can't make. And he dumb he going all the time. But sometimes you look like if he going and pass, but he can't. NDP could never pass by Sylvan. So even since I make NDP pass, he held the leading too. They carrying them too. And God knows, good people in Sylvan, so we are praying people who pass that better than the churches and all of them. The NDP could never pass by Sylvan to take over Sylvan, to destroy Sylvan, to send me back. Look at him on the polyclinics and place looking like hospital and polyclinics and thing, and Vincent Chan has so much access to health and all kind of thing, and all this kind of thing is vampires and them criticizing. But I telling you, NDP is a destructive sort of human being. If your brother and sister, but I'm telling you, brother, there is a different side. They have a law of making destruction, creating confusion and destruction. They don't want to see Vincent Chan live happy at all. They don't want to see Vincent Chan enjoy themselves. They don't want to see nothing good for it because they figure it up. They're going to put a toll in the thing for them not to get into office. But I'm going to tell you something. Let me just give you Gumby. You ban American family ban and Jeff and Postman and Bling and all these lovely people, Prime Minister, everybody. But let me just give Gumby my number. My number is Gumby. In number, if you listen, the number is 427. Let me get this number right now. Let me see me. I don't get it. 427 67. Wait, 67. Give me a little time. Let me find my number.
You're talking about the phone you're calling from here?
Yes. 492 6723. That's my partner. The people that would ask, he had a different number. So the number now is 492 6723. It's a digital number. So let me just give that to my partner, Gumby. And I tell you, Gumby, I'm back on the track, boy, back on the track. Call me anytime. And let me this evilness from the NDP. They're telling lies day and night just to see if they could survive and get the power to destroy Sylvan and the Grenadines. I will imagine that them could do better. Them could make Vincent and life better. You could make Vincent and life better, you right, big people, play at Olania. You put a cap on investment. You want no education. Well, you know, man, so you can do better, but you try to keep them siblings in all different ways. But I tell you something, they could do so much better. The one of them in the NDP went and used the country name to go overseas. Just like the predecessor they do, where they put him out of office. Use Vincent's name. Can you catch that money from overseas? And taking money now and building the biggest house, and the people them still waiting and help. All the worthless evil bastard. All I wanna get happy.
All right, my brother. All right then.
Okay, man. Have a good reporting, man.
Take it light. Yeah. When you had I don't like when you go down the road calling people bastard. Keep it as cordial as always. But again, for me, in terms of the credit union arrangement with the government, It's better than you saying that you're going to sell passport to finance a development bank. Because at the end of the day, this arrangement is helping to strengthen our local credit union. And we've seen the history in the past about development bank and what happened with it. I remember the leader of the opposition used Grenada as an example. But reality, the bulk of the portfolios or loans or assistance from their development bank is towards education, scholarship opportunities. Here in St. Vincent and Grenadines, the government straight away provide over 74 scholarships, national scholarships, and they have over 940 exhibition and bursaries. You need no development bank for that. But here, the government is saying, look, we'll help, we'll work along with the credit union, and we'll make sure that we use that agreement and arrangement in assisting our own fisher folk in purchasing their vessel, larger engines, or what have you. And in strengthening the institution itself. So there's that. And again, we're talking about keeping things positive. And in that same note, keeping things positive, I don't think I ever talked about it on the program, but I was so heartened to see a representative of, a former, I would say, was part of the executive of the teachers union, Nikisha Williams. I saw a post by Nikisha Williams, I think last month, where she said that please note I, Nikisha Williams, am no longer affiliated with Rise High Runa. I wish to take this opportunity to thank all who have supported me while I was yet a member. We still have lots of work to do as a people, but sometimes the best thing to do is shake off the negativity and start anew. I agree with that. And I hope that there are many persons who can shake off the negativity and start anew. You know, I don't know whether her shaking off the negativity is as a result of her being back in the system, attached to the Ministry of Education, having reapplied for her post in September. I don't know whether it's because of that. As the government afforded persons the opportunity who basically chose not to take the vaccine and therefore opted to walk away from the job. But the government did give persons the opportunity to reapply. Nikisha is one of them who reapplied in September, and she got back a job, but attached to the Ministry of Education. I don't know if it's because of that. She shook off the negativity of Rise High Rona, but I wish that there are many other persons who can do like Nikisha, shake off the negativity and focus on how we can build St. Vincent and Grenadines together. Yeah. So I was heartened to see that, and that is why, again, today we are talking about the positive news and how we're moving forward as a country. Yeah, very important. Spreading positive news, lifting St. Vincent and Grenadines higher. We look around St. Vincent and we see Braxa doing a lot of work. You know, you often hear government Gelix, talking about roads and drainage and the like. But Braxa does significant amount of work. But I want to say something. I know persons knew that Braxa did rehabilitative work on the Long Wall Road, which is, of course, a bypass route in and out of Kingston during certain hours of the day. But, I found something very strange. But I tell you, that as part of our budget, the government's budget for this year, 2023, which the opposition criticizes, by the way, I saw the MP for East Kingston Fitzbramble while they were doing work on the road. chose to take out a photo of the road and himself and made a post to make it seem as if because of him the road being done. But the road is being done because the government saw it fit that in the budget for this year we allocate a lot of money towards road rehabilitation and repair. The government did say that this year we're going to focus a lot on road repair work, and we see across St. Vincent and Grenadines a lot of that is being done. So I don't know why he had to do that. And it brings me to the other point. You know, it have some persons who say that, well, the government job is to repair roads and maintain roads. What is this fancy thing to talk about roads? But here you have the MP for East Kingston, though. Thought it's fancy enough to go and take out a photo and make it seem as if because of him road being done. I find these things, you know, strange. But again, positive news, we see Brax are doing a significant amount of road work across St. Vincent and Grenadines, and there's more to be done, including Mesopotamia area, Belmont. You have even in West St. George area, and I know they did some work there. You have also in East St. George Fair. Talking about East St. George, I know the MP for that area and the Minister of Finance had a meeting, I think was Thursday, either Thursday or Wednesday, with the residents of Choppins area. A community meeting more or less to basically bring an update on matters put into that area and the constituency, and basically interact and share their own issues, their concerns, and the like with their rep. And I know that it's the rep's intention to have more of those meetings across East St. George. And in East St. George in particular, there's the Fair Hall Road, which the MP mentioned that there's work to be done on that, and also the road in Brighton. So again, Bramble didn't have to go and, you know, take out some photo and make it seem as it's because of him. Yeah. But reality, the government did say, and we heard the Deputy Prime Minister, and that who is now acting as Prime Minister, given that PM Gonzalez is out of state. But we did say that we are spending over $20-something million on road construction and repair for this year. There's also the bridges, the two temporary bridges in North Windward, and soon. I heard this discussion on Hat 97, I think 2 weeks ago, where it was said that the government is waiting to have ribbon cutting before persons can drive on the bridges. And I simply had to shake my head. Now, those are temporary bridges. They are merely bridges. And clearly, installing these bridges, they don't expect immediately to drive on the bridge on them, because they have to settle. And from my own understanding, you had some bolts and things that they had to deal with. You don't expect to, for safety reasons, of course, driving on them immediately. You can walk on them, surely. But that is also the issue there. They have to settle on things. Yes, Thursday night, they had a meeting in East St. George. So there's that. There's also the road in Bookament leading to Sandals. That has to be constructed to the Sandals Beaches resort. And we see significant amount of work being done on that project as they have the deadline for December, the end of this year. And right, and it was said here that the Minister of Finance spoke about the $50 million in terms of road repair and construction work. So yeah, we see work also ongoing steadily at the port project, and that too will mean a change in terms of traffic and of course the improving road network. that part of Capital City Kingston. We also see work ongoing at the Blackfish or the fish processing facility in Barley. Talking about good news, because some persons they don't like to hear good news. They like to spread mayhem and fake news or negativity. There's also ongoing work at Maya, luxury suites. There's also ongoing work, and we see many construction workers at the Holiday Inn Express site, Diamond. And again, all these are opportunities that the government is providing for job creation and for increased economic activity across St. Vincent and the Grenadines. But what do you get from the opposition? And I read an article and I'll touch on it after we take the break, is that they have another way they think we should develop the country. What the government is doing is focusing on sustainable development, how we can sustain our development over a long period of time. In building our people first, making sure that our people have the skills necessary, and that is why you have the YEAD program, you have the Skype program, you have the adult ed learning program, and the like. That is why the government is spending a lot of money and allocated actually a lot of money towards the upgrading of technical schools, technical institutes, including we see work being done at the Beckwith Community High School for that purpose as well, because we have to train our people for the jobs that are being created in our economy. Hence, again, under the Department of Labor, you have the labor market survey that is being done on a continuous basis to basically see, well, what are the skills we need and how we therefore can train and prepare persons for these very skills that are being demanded by the private sector. And that is all leading to the target and objective of having reduced unemployment and increasing employment opportunities for the average man and woman here in St. Vincent and Grenadines under what's called the Data for Decision Making Project or initiative. Very important. Again, you don't hear these sort of conversation often on radio. But of course, if I don't do it or if you don't hear it on Star FM as well, you may not hear it at all. And all you may think is that all that's happening here in St. Vincent and Grenadines, bad news, negativity, or nothing good. If you listen to certain programs, you'll swear that St. Vincent is the worst of the worst, and that people are living what my MP does normally say, in squalor. Yeah, squalor. He likes to use that word. People are living in squalor. Yeah, and that kind of thing. If you listen to those on the opposition, you'll swear St. Vincent is the worst of the worst, where corruption is rife, where people are living in fear, where you have no freedom, where people can't even, the Prime Minister, I heard the Prime Minister on Sunday talked about an obese problem in this country. And immediately to my mind, I'm saying, but how the officials, the experts are saying St. Vincent and the Grenadines that we have an obese problem, but on the other hand, you hear people starving. Yeah. So, oftentimes I like to reason, and I believe in critical thinking. And when I hear some of these things that people so poor that they can't eat, boy, how are you telling me people can't eat but people obese? But it's now 11:30, so we'll pay some bills and then resume with Shakeup the program on this discussion.
The flavor nice, it's locally made. Affordable price, Lord, up to $3 retail. When you see we line with the red and white case, show me what you like. It's cigarette from Empire, Holdings Limited. It's cigarette from Empire, Holdings Limited, with over 60 years experience. Hold the best tobacco, best ingredients. Yeah. This is your boy Lou to say, support local, buy your cigarettes from Empire Holdings Limited. 10 cigarettes in a pack for up to $3 retail. Remember, smoking is not for minors.
That could have been you. An accident that could have been avoided because your tires had almost no grip on the road. Safety is a factor that should never be overlooked when it comes to your car or whatever you drive. SVG Tire Sales and Services in Falls Avenue and in Arnisvale carries a wide selection of quality new tires to fit any car, truck, minibus, or SUV, so you can experience a comfortable and safe commute every time. We are agents for the world's most reliable brands on and off the road, including Kenda Tires, the king of the mountain, Cooper Tires, king of the road and track, Osto, the king of the outback, and High Fly, the king of the Asian highway. We also carry new tires for light or heavy-duty trucks from MRF, High Fly, and Linglong. A reliable set of new tires keep you, your passengers, and your payload always in the safe lane. So when you need quality tires with reliability at 100%, choose SVG Tire Sales and Services in Kingstown, 457-1467, or in Arnisvale, 456-6444. SVG Tire Sales and Services. Performance and reliability proven when the rubber meets the road. St. Vincent and the Grenadines. It's a whole new world out there. Reaching new customers and getting products faster. That's what it's all about. Ocean freight rates are skyrocketing, so don't pay more for slower service. It's time to switch to faster, more reliable air cargo service with SkyMax Cargo. Up to 3 flights weekly to and from the USA, Puerto Rico, and the Caribbean islands. Providing excellent import, export, and e-commerce solutions to put you ahead of the competition. For special low rates on small packages and air cargo, contact SkyMax today. 784-456-5400. Local agents SwiftPack Interprime Cargo. Call 784-456-5400 to book your shipments today. Out with the old, in with the new. In the past, you complained when we failed. We listened and went back to the drawing board. At last, a new, fresh beginning. A fresh face, a new product. International Standard Metals A792 presents Galvaloon, an aluminum roofing metal, branded best used for roofing material, tested and proven to be of superior quality. Get wider coverage for the best prices on the island. We offer a variety of colors, including zinc sheets. Also, take advantage of our unique roofing patterns, U-panel, industrial, and crimp Spanish style. Visit us at the Diamond Industrial Estate. Call us at 784-456-9900 or email bmlsvg@gmail.com. Galvaloon, a product of International Standard Metals.
Welcome back, and you're listening to 88.2 FM The Sound. We're talking about service excellence in the tourism industry. Let's take a caller.
Good morning. I'm Jackie from this agent at Holiday Villa Hotel for the past 25 years.
25 years. Great. So, Jackie, tell us, what makes an excellent front desk agent?
I love my job. As a service provider, I'm always polite to customers. I'm very helpful and I smile a lot. You know, visitors as well as locals feel very welcome when you treat them with respect and concern for their welfare.
Very true. We all need to look at it that way.
Yes, you see, tourism is everyone's business. You've got to live it, love it, embrace it.
Tourism is for me. Tourism is for you. Tourism is everyone's business. Yeah, live it, love it, embrace it.
99.9, the heart and soul of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. WEFM is SVG.
So yes, we are back in studio of WFM. I am your host, Augustine Ferdinand. Remember the numbers to call and interact with us are 784-457-9997. That's 784-457-9997. Let's take this call. Good morning, call. Welcome to Shakeup.
Good morning. Just let me turn this off.
Yes, good morning.
Ferdinand, I wonder by chance you looked at a program that came over BBC over the weekend. I think it was only the Head in the Cloud.
No, I didn't.
It was they were discussing the data the data centers of all the internet companies. Facebook, Google, Microsoft, any all those companies at all, Instagram, whatever you know,
Yes.
Google, they all have their data centers, and they're all over Europe. They're in Ireland, they're in England, they're in the States. I think one of them is in Canada. The thing is that every single word that is spoken on those in Facebook or whatever it is you're dealing with, they are recorded, and they're recorded in the data centers where they are. And well, I'm not the one that's going to say the commentator said the amount of electricity and water that the network of these data centers are consuming, they're guzzled. They refer to it as guzzling electricity and water, and they are never ever turned off. And the government's concerned are now realizing that the electricity and the water that those the data centers are using are causing problems. They've had to do a lot of shifting from, if they planned a housing settlement somewhere nearby, they had to cancel it because the electricity, they couldn't get enough electricity and water to supply those places, so they had to cancel it. But it was a very, very interesting program, but they left you really puzzled out. I wonder if people realize that every single word that they utter, every picture that they take is being recorded in one of those centers, those data centers, in wherever part of the world they are.
Thank you.
That is it. And I just want to make one other little comment about I listened to WEFM this morning, and I was a little distressed when I heard two or three males called in, and they talked about, they're so glad that they have some female commentators, on the staff, and it makes me feel bad. Look at how long Donnie Collins worked at that WEFM. Years. And they admitted they had been listening to WEFM since early o'clock from its inception. Donnie Collins has been there for a very, very long time. And he kept that. I got the impression sometimes that he's saying Mr. Williams wouldn't move him because he kept the program going so well. And yet these new female commentators just coming on. You can't compare what they do to what Donnie Collins did for years on that station. And it made me feel very, very bad this morning. Listen to them saying, so what they think Donnie Collins was doing all the time. He was never moved, carrying that station all those times. Everybody enjoyed listening to him. And yet this morning they come and say, oh, they're so glad. Sorry, Mr. Ferdinand. I just don't like people to compare. Just new people, you don't compare them to a stalwart you had there called Donnie Collins. He kept the station going. I just thought I'd mention it because it left me feeling bad.
Okay then. Thank you. In terms of the internet, I think I can speak a bit here. I actually did a course on a similar topic, data, and how it's used also for marketing. Everything, I always tell persons this, everything on the internet is recorded. Even for those who believe that they delete something from a folder and it goes into a trash bin and you empty what's called the recycle bin, despite you emptying that recycle bin, that data is still lodged on the internet or within the system in a cache. It's lodged there. I normally don't beat up on these networks because we use them. We don't pay really to use them, but actually because we spend, or some person may spend a lot of time on them, we provide content that basically helps these networks to make money. I know there are some persons who beat up on whether Facebook, Google, YouTube, Instagram, or what have you for using the data or data information. But that's how they make money, and we basically use it. So whatever word you type in, they use that, and data is like oil today. It's valuable. Information is valuable, and there are many companies out there that are in business with Meta or Google or what have you to get that information, and they use that information. So, for example, many persons may inquire, well, why am I seeing? I may simply have a conversation and talking about a trip. I want to travel. I would like to go to, let's say, St. Lucia or to the UK. And then not too long after that, maybe for the rest of the week, you start to see ads popping up on your page or profile about rooms at affordable rate in St. Lucia or the UK. That's because, again, of what you typed. That is saved on their network. And because they may enter into business arrangements with some travel agency or what have you, they then get that information, and therefore their ads are targeted and pushed for you to buy the services that you're offering. That's how it happens. They make money off of it, and you continue to use their network or website for whether business, leisure, to keep up with family or what have you. That's how the world works. But yes, information basically is always there on the network. It's never erased, and that is why when you have, let's say, crimes are committed, I know we work in tandem with RSS or Barbados. We send devices over there, they scan through them, and they can bring up all the conversations you had, even if you deleted the conversation, because it's saved, even though you may think it's deleted. That's how it works. Yeah, WhatsApp, SMS, or everything that you type, basically, it's saved. And that is how you go through the conversations, and you may get valuable information to charge or apprehend or find someone guilty of a crime. So yes, but again, we're talking about sustainable development, and the difference in approach. The Unity Labour Party, we believe in training persons, providing opportunities for persons, and how we grow. The NDP, on the other hand, they're pushing the selling of passport. They think that the only way we can really and truly develop is, one, if we shift our foreign policy in favor of mainland China, in recognizing China instead of Taiwan. Basically say, well, thank you, Taiwan, for all the work that you've done with us, but time for us to move on. The bigger boxes with China, and that is it, despite the many fruitful relations we've had with Taiwan through agriculture, education, or what have you. And we heard the opposition say that it's in St. Vincent's best interest to form diplomatic ties with China. And the other one, of course, given the shift with China, is of selling passports as a way for development. So that's the contrasting difference. The Unity Labour Party were about training people, providing avenues and opportunities for job creation, wealth creation, growth of businesses. But the NDP selling of passports, generate revenue through that. Basically everything through passport, actually. And development bank, selling of passports, how we do roads, the selling of passports, everything for the NDP is hinged upon the selling of passports. And I remember that since that shift in policy starting from Mr. Eustace and then his successor, Dr. Friday, that basically we've been saying that is the wrong approach to development. We've been saying that ever since. That's the wrong approach to development. We're not about selling passports, and we give many reasons. The Prime Minister has stated time and time again, if you don't sell citizenship is the highest office, and our sovereignty basically is not for sale. Our citizenship should not be for sale. The other, of course, there's the economics of it and security implications. in that, there are many persons engaged in fraudulent activity and the like who are engaged in the purchasing of passports, and that has security implications for St. Vincent and Grenadines and the rest of the ECS. And of course, there's the economics of it, where really and truly it's not sustainable. There's a lot of vulnerability, sudden stop risk, and all of that in the economic argument. So there's the citizenship argument, security argument, and economic argument against the selling of passports. So the other thing is that we saw time after time the EU announcement on countries that are engaged in the selling of passports, and where they said that the possibility of retracting visa access for nationals of these countries to the Eurozone. We saw the OECD talking about countries that are engaging in the selling of passports, facilitating tax evasion, fraud, and they will be clamping down on such countries. We heard out of Antigua, and I have the recording here where Prime Minister Augustine Brown, where he also talked about the issues that are involved with the selling of passports and the challenges that they too will be faced with. And our Prime Minister said time and time again, and the Unity Labour Party has said time and time again, that this is something that is bound to fail. That this is something that we should not, as a people, as a country, engage in. And I remember in particular the instance with the European Union, where the Prime Minister said that is just the first ball being bowled, and that there are many balls to be bowled after in dealing with this thing. And therefore, we heard from Prime Minister Brown where he said this.
Well, the reality is now that CIP programs, citizenship and investment programs in Europe, in the Caribbean, and elsewhere, they are under threat. The European Union would have taken legislation to its parliament a week ago, and they would have passed it, one in which they've given countries the option to do away with their CIP programs in order to continue to have Schengen visa-free status into Europe, or to continue the program and they stop them from having visa-free access into the Schengen region. Because if you don't have access into the visa-free access into the Schengen visa-free area, then clearly it will undermine the viability of these programs. Because a lot of people who literally get our citizenship is also to get access, visa-free access into that region. Prior, Canada was part of it, but as you know, Canada has literally suspended visa-free access for all countries, including Antigua and Barbuda. We were the final casualty of that policy, in which they felt that because we had a CIP program, that they would not continue to allow us visa-free access into Canada.
Yeah, so they have that issue with cutting visa-free access to these jurisdictions because, again, they're engaged in the selling of passports. And like I said, under the Schengen visa agreement, St. Vincent and Grenadines, we also, because of that, our citizens, you, your sister, your brother, your mother, once you're a citizen of St. Vincent and Grenadines, you can spend traveling to any European country for a few weeks. You don't require a visa to travel and stay in that country for a while. But again, that is under threat for countries engaging in the selling of passports because the European Union sees it as a threat to their own security and other things. So on the weekend, I saw a particular news, and I have it here. United States passes legislation to prevent Grenadian citizens from having instant access to E2 visa. It says here that the United States of America passed legislation that prevents people who buy Grenadian citizenship from having instant access to USA E2 visa. The new US policy means that CBI passport holders from Grenada must first reside in their adopted country for a period of 3 years before becoming eligible to apply for the E2 visa. Remember, the whole CBI idea is that you can simply stay wherever you are and buy a passport. You don't have to live in the country. You don't even have to know anything about the country, save and except that they're selling passport. That is the whole idea of CBI. You can simply stay whether in Malaysia, Hong Kong, Beijing, Switzerland, wherever, and you see advertisement. I normally see them on Antigua, they're selling passports. You buy one and you get the other one at 50% discount, like a cream. Grenada similar, St. Lucia similar. And the person just click on that. They get in contact with the Citizenship by Investment Unit, and they say, well, they want whether 3 passports, family. They give you the family package. You get a discount on that, like if you're buying a product in a supermarket. And you basically wait for a few weeks to a month and get a passport wherever you are. You don't have to step foot in the country at all. You don't even have to know the rules, the laws of the country, what have you. Just know that by the time you get the passport, you are branded now as a citizen of that country. So the United States is saying that, look, because of this thing, persons who benefit from this sort of initiative, they can no longer, as a citizen of that country, having bought a passport, get a visa. And therefore, they would have to spend some time in that country before they're eligible to do so. It says that the news that the US has for the newly elected government of Grenada, in that it poses a severe threat to the future viability of the Grenada CBI program. Most people who buy Grenadian passports do so to get an E2 visa and enjoy all the excellent benefits of that visa. And that's why they say there are some persons who buy a passport who are engaged in a lot of scrupulous activity. Even the MP, my MP for West Kingston, Daniel Cummins, said it, that persons who are engaged in this thing, they are crooks. So let me
the problem is some people know that these are crooks, but they slip them through because the perks are great. When people have money that is not clean and they want to get into the CBI, the temptation is there for those in authority to override the screening. But that argument you're using is an argument against the program. No, it's a comment. It's not against the program. It's against those who are greedy and corrupt.
Yeah, that is the MP for West Kingston and the chairman of the NDP, Daniel Cummins. He said the persons who partake in this program are crooks. Now, I don't know if he was trying to hint a message by saying that people in the NDP are crooks. But he said, and I Dr. Tyne, that is what he said, that persons who engage in this thing, they are greedy, they corrupt, and they are crooks. And that they do so because the perks are great. But it's underhand money, overhead money, whatever money. And there are those who buy it simply to get access to whether the USA or Europe without having to get a visa. Because I can tell you, let's say, for example, someone from Syria or Iraq or Afghanistan. Afghanistan is one of those countries where many countries around the world require citizens to get a visa. But a rich person from Afghanistan wanting to bypass getting a visa to go to Europe or to the US of A could simply, because they have money, buy a passport from St. Kitts, Antigua, for them and their family, and therefore would be able to bypass the security checks or system that is set up in requiring and getting a visa for proper screening to go to either the USA or to Europe. That is why they do it, to bypass that, because they are now branded as a citizen of another country, and therefore they won't use their Afghan passport, because they can be deemed as a citizen for another country. So the USA and the European Union, recognizing that this is a serious security issue, is clamping down. And that is why it says here that this move by the United States legislation or legislative body in requiring visa now for these persons is terrible news for the newly elected Grenadian government. And it poses a severe threat to the future viability of Grenada's CBI program, because most of the people who buy Grenadian passports, and not just Grenadian passports, but who buy passports in general, do so to get E2 visa and enjoy the excellent benefits of that visa. Yeah? It says before the USA passed the new law, in December last year, Grenada was the only country with a CBI program whose citizens were eligible to apply for such visa under the treaty agreement between the USA and Grenada. This is another ball being bowled. As the Prime Minister said before, the EU bowled the first ball. This is another ball, ladies and gentlemen, that is being bowled. You know, I often say on the program that I believe the Prime Minister has the ability to see wrong corner. No joke. I have said it. I believe he has the ability to see wrong corner. This is another ball being bowled. I don't know if this is why, ladies and gentlemen, that the opposition is the first time since they announced their position in shifting towards the sending of passports. That is the first time for this budgetary year, during the budget exercise, that they haven't said one thing about CBI. I don't know if they realize that what the Prime Minister said is becoming reality, and therefore it didn't make sense anymore for them to continue talking about CBI. I don't know. But clearly, the writing, as I say, is on the wall. And history and time will prove that the position taken by the Unity Labour Party government and that of Prime Minister Gonzalez and his team is the right one. And that the road we are going pertaining to our development as a country is the right one under the Unity Labour Party. Training our people, encouraging investors to come, facilitating employment opportunities and growth of new businesses. That is the sustainable route to go. Not the one that the NDP has pushed for many years in the selling of passports. It's now midday here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Before I go, I received the unfortunate news that spokesperson for New Times, NDP, Colin Graham, actually fell ill in studio while on the program. And therefore, I want to take this opportunity to wish him a speedy recovery. I don't know the nature of the illness, but he's a human being, and it's unfortunate what happened this morning. So I, of course, want to wish him the very best of health and that he recover speedily from what illness he would have experienced that resulted in him falling ill in studio. So with that, I thank those who call in on the program. Tonight on ULP Speak supposed to be Minister Caesar. So of course you listen out for that on Star FM. And until tomorrow, do have a safe and pleasant afternoon.
The flavor nice, it's locally made. Affordable price, Lord, up to $3.